Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This is absolutely the greatest. So excited to be here with everybody. And I am here this evening with Jeanette and Jeremy, two people that I know from Clubhouse. And it is an amazing opportunity for us to come together and do a live presentation. And tonight, we are going to be talking to you all about holiday advice around communications integrity. And we're going to talk a few kind of what I would call hot button topics. And we'll look forward to sharing those with you more as we progress here in a moment. But first, I'd love for Jeanette to introduce herself as the lady in the house, and then Jeremy, and then we'll get started here. And this is a first for each of us. And we're looking forward to sharing with you and just doing what we call pop-up StreamYard conversations that make a difference in the world today around communication. And with that, Jeanette, welcome.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah, my name is Jeanette Del Angel. I'm an accountant by profession, but I also moderate in Clubhouse in various rooms, mainly the 24-hour Bible study group. I'm also a student of Coach Les in his Ultramind class. So welcome, everybody, as we talk about communication and integrity.
And with that, thanks for being here. And with that, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Jeremy.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. And I'm so glad to be with you all this evening. And I am also a student of Coach Les's, and whom I have enjoyed the privilege of knowing and getting connected with. I've also had the opportunity to meet Jeanette. And let me tell you, meeting someone for the first time is like I've known her all my life. And it's so great when you see people. And I have an opportunity to work with youth. I've been working with youth for a number of years. I also work in the church in the private sector, and looking forward to make memories and to advocate for those who have been left out of society. So with that, I am excited to be with you all.
Awesome. And we're all live and ready to rock and roll. And to start off this conversation, I think it's really interesting that as we go into the holidays, we just passed Thanksgiving. And as we get close to Thanksgiving, I think the thing that starts to happen is, hey, Gurdavar Sahota, hello, Florida, Minnesota, and South Carolina. Les, Jeanette, and Jeremy from the UK. So, so there we go. So the comments will show up, and I'll be able to tell you the comments as they come in as well. So, if you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, please do us a favor, add any comments you want, any questions. As we go along, please feel free to ask. And it seems that as we went into Thanksgiving, you could always feel the pressure and the anxiety and the temperatures of family relations start to rise. And the thing that I think is very interesting is with significant others, there always seems to be an expectation of how you're going to show up at the party, how you're going to fit in, who you're going to be communicating with, and is it enough, or did you seem to be sitting out on the edge alone, and all these things? And it has just mystified me, because my experience is, I speak to people and I find a spot and I'm comfortable in that spot, and then people move around and I'm just hanging out, and people stop by and chat. And yet my significant other, it wasn't enough. It was like she had this expectation that I would be bouncing like a bee from flower to flower of conversation. And we had this conversation the other night, and I'm like, why are we discussing this now? It's, let's see, 21 days Thanksgiving. Could we not have mentioned this? Well, I'm getting nervous because we've got Christmas coming up, and I don't want you to do the same thing. So there's all these things, and I'm just curious to know, Jeanette, what are some of your experiences from holiday stuff and advice? And I think, for just to kind of finish my little thing, I think the conversation I had last night with my wife about this situation is something that, now I know. I mean, yes, we've been married for 3 years and we've been to holiday parties. I just didn't know there was this expectation that was there for me to fit into, because we've been to plenty of parties and it's never been an issue. So I'm excited, because now I know how to not get in trouble.
It's better to have that conversation 21 days before instead of day 30 of 31. Because then you've got one day to why couldn't we have talked to this 30 days ago? Yeah, the expectations that occur. Yes. What I go through is, I'm a social butterfly. I just invite everybody. And of course, if I'm inviting everybody and I'm hosting, I'm also cooking, and you can't cook and host at the same time, right? So I'm thinking the social butterflies are going to get everybody talking, and nope, doesn't happen. And you're like, what do I do now? They're all sitting in little groups. They're in pockets. And this is a time to socialize. It's not a time to break down in groups. So it isn't until we start eating, now they have something in common. Oh, the food is good. What did you like best? And now things start opening up. And that's usually what happens. So what I try to do is find activities that I can get them doing while I'm cooking. And if I don't get that done in time, then yeah, you got all these little groups, and just getting them to talk about things, just who likes this? And they say one word. Yeah, I like it. And you're like, okay. So the communication just stops it continually. So you have to get in there and just keep trying to push their buttons, keep trying to find out what's going to get them to talking, get them to introduce themselves, because a lot of times they don't know each other. This is a time for socializing, and sometimes they just can't do it. That's one of the struggles I have. What about you, Jeremy?
That's so funny, Jeanette, how you mentioned one word answers. And I one of the tips I think to remember is that people communicate differently. And I think that's so important to know, because when I am charismatic and I'm outgoing, I have to realize that there are certain people that just might want to stay in the corner. And that's okay. So I have to learn how to approach them, and I have to learn how to meet them in their world. And my goal is always to bring them out in the open, right? Is to always bring them out of their comfort zone, and to bring that conversation that I'm having with them out in the open for the larger gathering. And so, I mean, during this time, it is always quite unique. It is always memorable, and it is always sensitive. Now, why is it that during the holidays that we want to think about all the issues that has happened 10 and 15 years ago? And why do we always want to bring out the latest drama? And why do we always want to bring out, do you remember when? And so when that happens, I find it not troubling, but I find an interesting a dialogue, or I find an interesting fork in the road. And I said, we can either go here and rehash 5, 6 years worth of issues, or we can slightly make a turn and find a new conversation. And so my goal has always been, I've always been a peacemaker, always been the one adding a slight uh, hint of comic relief. And I find that that has worked best for me, especially during the holidays.
Well, you know what's funny is when they would get to that part. Remember 5 years ago when you did this, and I would cut it off. Hey, stop it! If you didn't talk about it 5 years ago, you're not allowed to bring it up now. You're
Right.
done. It's in the past.
Right. It's over. It's over. You're done like this turkey, right?
Yeah. Why did you not address it back then? No,
Mm.
can't do. We're not going to try to refresh that moment in time. So I always cut it off. But I know Coach is going to have something to say about that.
Well, it's very interesting because, I've been in this country now without a lot of family. And for the last 17 years, I've hosted Thanksgiving at my house. And at first, it was the orphans' Thanksgiving where people that didn't have a place to go could come. And I've had anywhere from 16 to 40 to one year, we had 160 people come by for Thanksgiving.
Jeez.
And, they just kind of came through in waves during the course of the day. And I had a friend that brought a big barbecue grill that hooked into the garage. So the garage door came and it was sealed. And it was very, very unique how he did it. And the one thing I notice is that, even if it's not family, people talk about the past and they talk about these events. And I think the same as what both you and Jeremy said, Jeanette, is this whole thing of coming in and making sure, hey guys, we don't need to relive the past. We don't have to gossip. We don't have to pull up the gravestones of gossip from 3 years ago or 5 years ago. Unless there's something happy to talk about, let's talk about now. And I think this is a great segue for me to bring in, the last 2 years. What's one of there have been two massive topics for us to talk about. One is the political arena that happened here in the U.S. And second, the viral infection that's all over the world, quote unquote, the pandemic, and that has shut people in some countries into their homes. And there are still some people that have not left their homes since the pandemic started. And I just heard about this the other day, that there are still some people. They have shopped online. They have done everything. They have exercise equipment. They Zoom. They do work on the computer, and they have not gone outside of their home. And I just think about that and go, wow, that's like being in prison. Self-imposed prison. And I think, and then I look and go, okay, so in the neighborhoods, I look at my neighborhood, and I've never seen so many people walking with family members, even in the winter, as I have in the last 2 years. And I've lived in this neighborhood for 26 years now. And I look around and I'm like, this is insanity. I think it's wonderful because people are outside. They're doing things with family. They're playing in the snow. I mean, kids, I've seen more snowmen in the home near me than I have probably in the previous decade. So to see that tells me, that parents and kids are like wanting to get out. They're bat stir crazy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think, I think that's a thing to remember. I know that one of the great things that always used to happen on the holidays, we'd eat kind of a mid-afternoon meal, and then all the kids were put into their gear, and they got to go out and exercise to wear off the food and to
Right.
burn off the energy so that they come back in and they rest and crash in front of the TV.
Yes, and that's when the adults get to watch the football games
They,
uninterrupted.
And or have adult conversations, right?
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Um, it's interesting you brought up, Jeremy, that you're the peacemaker in your family. And, oftentimes, um, I know there's an expectation of me, right?
Mm,
Where I'm at. And it's funny because as I was talking with my wife last night and we were talking about this, I said, where am I at on Thanksgiving and Christmas when I have these parties at the house?
mm.
Where do you see me? And she goes, well, you're in the kitchen. I said, yep. When do I come out of the kitchen? Well, to eat. I said, yep. And then I go back in to clean. And so if people want to chat with me, it's like they have to come to the kitchen.
To help clean.
Oh,
It's not even
I don't
about.
know how much cleaning is going to happen.
I think the interesting thing about that though is so many people, because of my seemingly outgoing personality and my want and my desire to connect with people,
Mm,
everybody says, "Oh, you're type A. You like to, go and be this social butterfly." And it's funny because I'm not. I would come to a party and just sit and locate and be comfortable just sitting and watching. And it's watching other people come to me and they'll sit down and chat. And, oftentimes people will come over and go, is everything okay? Because they're so used to me from teaching or from coaching or from my job in sales, from all these different things. And I think we want to be cautious. Sometimes we have an expectation of how people are going to behave and how they're going to look in certain events. And I want to take a quick moment. You can see the ticker that's been going across, and we're streaming this live today across 6 different Facebook sites, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. And 3 of the Facebook are Accelerated Global Connect. I'm a captain for the networking organization, Accelerated Global Connect in St. Paul. And it's part of the reason I'm streaming this information, because I think this is valuable information today that we're sharing, and what we're going to continue to share here for a little bit about what to do at the holidays and what to do. And I'm going to bring it full circle, because this Accelerated Global Connect is a networking in-person organization. Now they do have some online events. It was designed though to be in person, and it was designed to come together, chat for about 45 minutes, then listen to a speaker that delivered something to support businesses for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then come back to networking afterwards. And I know for myself, the owner of Accelerated Global Connect, Travis Sims, who I also happen to be his business coach, will have to come up, and we will like give each other tasks, because both of us, although we're out there and we're both social, it takes something to step into that box, to go in and visit the people and break the ice, even though I'm the captain and even though people see me as this outgoing person. And I bring this up to watch in your families. Some people that you may think are very outgoing because of how they handle you one-on-one, or how you see them sometimes in their work environment, be careful not to judge. Because when I tell people I'm quiet and I sit down, they're like, "Oh, that's just because you're upset." I'm like, no, that's where I'm comfortable letting all the stimulus in and paying attention, sometimes from a distance. So I don't know what your experience with that those type of scenarios in networking, Jeanette.
Oh yeah, I get the same thing because I'm very I'm usually typically very quiet. But when in a social setting, I'm very talkative. I'm the one that's connecting people. So if I talk to them, I'll find I'll ask them questions and I'll say, "Oh, I need to connect you with this person. You need to know John over here because you can connect with him because of what you're working on." And it seems like, they get hooked on the personality types, right? Like, right? But what happens when you do your personality test and you look at it and you're kind of like in the middle of all of them. So you change, right? And when you're yourself and you're doing your downtime, they look at it, oh, something must be wrong. So they're always looking at the bad first instead of, hey, is this your downtime? Is this your quiet time? Are you doing your time out? Right? And so they do these assumptions. They have these expectations of how they need to see you all the time, not realizing that you may be this personality type that may be where you are strongest, but you may be in the middle. You could have a personality of each type depending on where you are and what you're doing, and it's okay. But it takes that communication. See, these expectations keep getting in the way, right? And we see it during the holidays, these expectations. So the communication is very important. You have to ask. And where I live in Florida, they never ask. They just make these assumptions. How are you feeling today? Oh, she's feeling tired right now. They answer your questions for you. All right. Or you go to start saying, oh, I'm feeling, they go, yeah, she's feeling really good. I'm like, well, what I was going to say is that I'm like kind of busy right now. So it's, and you have to refinish your sentence that they finish for you. That happens 80% of the conversations here in Florida. 80% of the time, everybody's just in each other and the expectations are high.
Interesting. Well, I just want to do a quick shout out too for the owner of, since we were talking about networking, the owner of Accelerated Global Connect has 2 bestsellers. Networking in the New Normal, and it's by Travis Sims. And he got a bestsellers on this one. And then he wrote The Magic of Networking. He took it, he leveled it up, created, as you can see, he went from a thin book to a bigger book.
The bigger book.
And this one also got Amazon bestsellers. So for those of you that are looking for networking advice, The Magic of Networking from Travis Sims, or Networking in the New Normal. And both of these, really for those of you that have small businesses, when he had 5 locations here in the Twin Cities, and his business was in-person networking.
Wow.
And when COVID shut us down, we were done. And in 7 days, he turned the business from in-person to online, using what we're using right now, StreamYard, along with Zoom. And he turned it completely over to online and had 5 sessions a month where each of the captains, myself, brought in speakers almost for a whole year. We did it all online. So this gentleman is an expert on networking and figuring it out. So just want to do that little plug, and then I'm going to bounce it back to you, Jeremy. When you see when you look at COVID and your family, and I know you're in the process of building a home, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you not only have you got COVID going on, but you're living with your in-laws with 2 kids.
Right.
So what is some of the things where you see yourself as a peacemaker in the family,
Mm.
and also the chef in the family? I think when there's a group of people that come over, right?
Yes, they allow me to get in the kitchen every once in a while. So I love to cook and try new things. That's a great question, Coach. Uh, in my particular situation, it may seem that it could be stressful, and I would say this. I would say know your stressors. And being with my in-laws has been completely. Um, we were just blessed. My family and I were just blessed to be able to come into their home, for them to be accepting and allow us to stay with them for the time that we've stayed with them while our home is being built. And you don't really know someone until you've until you live with them. You really don't get a chance to see those intricacies of their lives, and you don't get a chance to see those moments where you both have an opportunity to share humanity. And during that time, or during this time, I have grown closer to them. My kids have a chance to run into their laps and to uh, do those memorable things that I believe will stay with them forever. One, because we have embarrassing pictures of them, by the way. So I'm excited for that, and I had an opportunity to grow up with my grandparents. My grandparents were maybe a block away, and it just informed my upbringing and informed my life, and I can pull from those conversations that I had with them and those experiences. And I hope that, and I pray that my family, my kids, can do the same. Uh, I just started cooking recently in the it was one of the new, I guess, the gifts that I recognized that I had during the pandemic. And it's interesting how what you can find about yourself when you're quiet enough, when you have flipped through a dozen Better Home magazines, and I just said, well, let's try something. And I want to do something for my wife for her birthday, and so I cooked a meal. And then since then, she says, well, you're going to be cooking from now on. And so it's just good to finally get that to get that captain's hat, so to speak, in the family. And my kids love my cooking. My in-laws love my cooking. My sister loves my cooking. So it's just really a badge of honor to have. But I mean, those times can be stressful. And a tip I guess I would give is to give each other space. Give people space. Excuse me. Give people space in the family, because you know, like I said before, there could be a lot of stressors. Someone could be so focused on making sure the dessert is just right, and another person could be on the sides, and another person could be on the meats, and another person could be in charge with getting the games together, and another person could be in charge with striking conversation and having it move in a particular way. And so for some folks that could be stressful and a lot of pressure. And so I would say, you know, give yourself some space. Give yourself some space to just breathe and to allow things happen organically and allow things to evolve on their own versus trying to fit the conversation in a box. It's amazing what can happen with that communication when you allow it to flourish as it is.
Jeanette, I hear you're headed to, for the holidays this Saturday. You're headed to be with friends in California, correct?
Correct.
Any advice as the visiting stranger to give to people that are going to be visiting strangers?
One of the big advice is don't leave anybody out. When you're visiting friends, now what I have to do is I make sure everybody knows where I'm staying. Because if you want to see me, the best way to do that is to come to where I am, because most of my friends are so spread out that I would never be able to see them all in my visits. So they come to me, and that makes it, we'll have a barbecue. If it's not a holiday, we have a barbecue. And it always works out. And if it doesn't, everybody's okay with it. Sometimes there's other commitments and they can't come and see me. But we're flexible. I've have the privilege of being flexible. I'm the type of person where plan A doesn't work, I have a plan B. You have to be flexible. Things happen. But yes, that's one of the key things that I make sure that I do, that in order for me to see everybody, it's easier for them to come to me. And if I could get them all in one day, great. If I can't, hey, I'm there. I don't really do a whole lot of planning outside. I try to do a lot at the house just in case, they want to come by and I'm there. And I usually try to plan my time of doing things when they're at work. So it always works out. So that's the number one thing. And always have plenty of food, because you never know who's going to stop by. So when I go, right, as soon as I get to my destination, I'm really fortunate that I have my friend has a room. She calls it my room. She goes, your room's ready. And she doesn't like to cook. So when I get there, I do all the cooking. And she'll give me money and I'll buy the food and then I'll do the cooking. So I'm really fortunate to have that so that I can do that. And I always have lots of food ready for everybody. And I cook healthy. So they really appreciate the foods that I make because they're eating healthy while I'm there, because otherwise they're eating out all the time. So I would say, remember, make it a central location that everybody comes to you, have lots of food and have fun. You make it a lot of laughter. And when you're done, it's a lot of great memories. Jeremy mentioned you have a lot of great pictures. Yeah, you want to have all that. You want to have all that visual too, not just the pictures. You want to have those memories. And this next 2 weeks, it's coming into the holidays. So I've got them already planning. They've already decorated. I've got them planning what we're going to do, where we're going to go, different outings that we're going to take. They were planning it. I put it in their head. I said, hey, why don't we try this? We're going to be we're going to go to rock school with Robin. So I've got a group of friends to go with me. Hopefully they don't cancel. I said, let's go do the rock thing. And then Robin gave me another idea where they make candy canes. So we're going to do that. Mm-hmm. And some friends that I'm going to try to meet as many people of our friends from Clubhouse. I'm going to try to meet them. I've already met Robin. Try to meet Steve, several other people in the other rooms that I moderate. So, you can put, just make those memories, start making them, and it just continues to grow. So holidays make it a great opportunity to do that. Those are the two main things that I would say, or three main things: central location, awesome, lots of food, and activities.
That's awesome.
It is. I tell you, and then there's one thing that we haven't talked about, and I think this would be a good thing just to end on, is New Year's Eve. And I think as we come into the end of 2021, I'm going to do a shameless plug for vision board creation, because it's one of the things. You can look at my YouTube, which this is posting on. But I have a 2-minute video on how to do a vision board. And for me, it's a great place to define your goals, to create an action plan, to find pictures and quotes to enhance your drive and your goals for the year. Have fun with it like a collage. Who cares if the circles of the pictures overlap, or if you cut something off. Put words of encouragement all over your board. Go to magazines and cut out, you see a sentence and it says, have a great whatever. Just go ahead and cut out and put have a great somewhere and have some fun with that kind of activity. Maybe perhaps reflect on your learning for the year. Putting in a picture of a celebration at the end of a learning program, or anything like that, where you want to share on your dream board. These are the things that I think create an empowering end of the year to get things complete. A lot of people write stuff down on a piece of paper and then take the paper, crumple it up, and throw it in the fire.
Yes.
And that, to me, what a perfect opportunity that is. So I think with communications integrity this year, my challenge to all of you, as we wrap up here and we'll hear a final word from Jeanette and Jeremy, is be responsible. Be responsible and show respect. It is the number one thing that is missing from our society today, is respect. It is crazy important, and people don't realize it. We're always in a hurry. And in fact, the three of us know somebody who always silences their mic on Clubhouse before they finish speaking. And that's just not being present. It's just not taking a moment to breathe. So that's my last thing with the communication. Let's really end the year with a great celebration. If you can't do a vision board between now and the end of the year, look right away at starting to build one. First thing, include your family.
Yes, include your friends, your family, include all the future memories of the year that you want to do with all your friends and family. Even cut out their faces and put it in the pictures. I've done that before.
It's great.
Yes.
Gerda Var Sahota says, you're an angel, Jeanette. Woohoo. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Lots of love.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to you too. I love it. I'm glad you mentioned the vision board, Coach, because last night when I was finishing up my certification program, we had Ann Hyatt giving her speech, and she gave the same thing that you teach everybody about the vision board. And you go a bit farther. You were the only one, the vision board, to have your mission statement, your vision statement, and your values. And she mentioned that too. And I went, yes, that is very important, because you talk about integrity, and that kind of defines who you are and where you're going. Don't forget to put your mission, your vision, and your values on your vision board. There's so many, if you're putting together a vision board and you don't know what to do, I have a couple of pointers, what I did, because I'm redoing mine. And Amazon makes it easy. I know, we're probably tired of buying from Amazon. They have a wish list, and you just go through and you find all these things that have the potential that you want to do on your vision board, and you just put them in the wish list, and you make your final decision of what you're going to buy for your vision board. I have a wall. I actually have a wall, and I'm redoing the wall, and I'm redoing the back of my door, because the back of my door has my mission, my vision, my 10-year, my 5-year, my 3-year, my 1 year. the possibilities. I even has a list of possibilities. And then the wall, I've kind of taken everything off the wall because I'm getting ready to redo it. So I'm looking at like that. And you know what? You have things like Canva that makes it easy to do your own sayings, print it out and put it on. You can change it up all the time. Publisher, Microsoft Publisher, if you're really creative, you can use those. So you can print things out and change it up every once in a while. But yeah, cut out those pictures of trips and put your face on there. Cut out a lot of pictures with your face on it and put it there, and your friends that you want to take on these trips. Those are some great ideas while you're getting ready for the new year. Do the vision board. Have fun with it. It can be so much fun. Jeremy, you have kids. Oh my gosh. Imagine having them start their vision board with yours. That would be so much, with your wife too. That would be a great project. Get a bunch of magazines. Ask your friends for magazines.
Oh yeah,
I just wanted to
plan. That is part of
yes,
the plan, Jeanette.
yes, that's going to be so much fun. You know, I'm gonna, now that Coach put that put out there, I'm going to do that with my friends. Well, that's going to be one of the activities. I'm going to have them do their vision boards. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great opportunity there. So thank you for that, Coach. Again, as always.
Well, I appreciate this, guys. I appreciate the last minuteness of this. I think it was fun to do. It'll be fun. I think it would be fun to do this maybe once a week and just get some people excited about what we're up to and what we're doing and what we're creating and taking it to the next level.
Let's do it. Like Nike says.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I appreciate it. And I want to do a shout out and thanks to Accelerated Global Connect for allowing us to use their Facebook groups to also share some of this education and some tips and techniques around the holiday. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be able to have two such amazing people in my life as Jeanette and Jeremy, and to be able to do this and to be able to share the wisdom of each of us as a combined three amigos here doing this. So thank you both. Really appreciate you. And Jeremy, if you want to have a closing thought before we go.
Well, thank you. This has been surprisingly wonderful. Once our minds come together, you just kind of never know what's cooking, right? What's baking in the oven. One thing I would like to add is there is always a time to make a new opportunity. The new year stands before us, and we have within our grasp to have a new day. If we're so blessed to wake up the next day, we have 24 hours to make new memories, to make memories that will last a lifetime. And we have the moments to create a new reality. Because you mentioned about COVID and the pandemic, and we didn't harp too much on it, but there are some people who are still isolated. People who are still alienated, and people who are still needing a touch, needing someone to pick up the phone and call them, needing someone to, maybe they need to go to their mailbox and find that someone has sent them a letter to let them know that they're not forgotten. And that is just as important as making sure the turkey doesn't dry out. It is just as important of adding them to our vision board, because when people are removed from the vision, then they become forgotten, the least, the last, the lost. And so we want to incorporate people in our vision. We want to incorporate people as we gather around the holidays. and you can incorporate them just by what we're doing with StreamYard, or you can incorporate them by putting them on speaker. Now, let them know first they're on speakerphone so they don't, say something off the wall now. But you also want to just incorporate people uh, in an easy, comfortable way so that while they are there, they can feel like they're here. And so that's what I have to add. Thank you, Coach, for this awesome time. And I'm so glad that I'm a part of your mastermind. And can't wait to see what the new year brings, and especially what these conversations will be around the holidays. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Coach. I can't say it any better than Jeremy. What a great brother to have. And yes, I look at it as, don't look at the possibilities anymore. Look at it as what your goals are going to be, and put a date to it. That's on top of what Jeremy said, because Jeremy inspires me. He puts, I can't do this alone. And as Coach says, it takes a village.
Amen.
And I am really grateful. I'm really grateful that I have the village that I do, my tribe. I appreciate you all. I love you both. Thank you.
And remember, as you're looking at goals, everybody, remember to do SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. SMART goals as you set them for 2022. Stretch yourself and make sure they're still SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And thank you all. With that, we will see you next time.